Jeff, the host of the Gridiron.
All right. Welcome to the Gridiron, baby. If you can give this video a thumbs up or maybe share this video, that would be absolutely freaking phenomenal. Oh my God. If you give my video a thumbs up, maybe share my video, that would be absolutely freaking phenomenal. I would absolutely love it. Thank you. If you subscribe to my channel, thank you. If not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way next time I go live or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose? It's totally free of charge. But if you're subscribed to my channel, thank you. If you want to help support my channel, description box below, very top link in the description box takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. Each one has their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. And I thank you in advance. Thank you. And then finally, just underneath that, there's another link. It takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants of Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. We have over 9,500 members in the group. It is doing simply marvelous, might I add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing and if I got internet access, I'm putting stuff in this group down there 365. It's called the New York Giants of Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You will not be dissatisfied. I promise. All right. Well, here we are. Another weekend is upon us, but this time there's no football. Is what it is. The season has ended. However, what I do love, good. About this time of the season, between like the college and the pros, it's kind of like the 8 days of Hanukkah or whatever. It's like each month is like a little gift, right? To keep giving you, right? I mean, the combine is at the end of this month, so you got that to look for. I mean, today's what? The 15th, soon to be the 16th. Obviously, February is a short month, so only 28 days, unless it's a leap year, then it's only 29. But for the most part, usually 28 days, and boom, and we're into February, and I'm almost off and running. It's crazy, right? But so you got the combine, and then you have the pro days, right, and all of that. So some guys will show up at the combine and they'll just maybe weigh in or something, or because they don't want to throw. They don't want to throw at the combine, right? So they want to throw at the pro days, where they're in more comfortable surroundings, throwing through all their own players and stuff like that, right? Which I understand to a certain degree, because especially if you're or some guys maybe, throw at the combine and they have their own pro day, right? But, I can see some of the guys like, expected to be taken in the top, you know what I mean? Especially if you're a quarterback, right? And you're throwing at the combine. There's a lot of things a little unfamiliar, right? Like you're throwing at unfamiliar guys, unfamiliar area, unfamiliar surroundings and all of that stuff, unfamiliar coaches telling you what to do, blah, 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 So, especially if you're going to be one of the top guys taken, it behooves you, to be comfortable, right? However, there's the good and the bad with that, of course, right? Let me take away this here. We'll talk about Mr. Stafford in just a second here. But I mean, because in the world of the NFL, it doesn't give a rat's rear end if you're comfortable. It really doesn't, right? So you got to give a lot of credit to guys who do show up at the combine and whatever, whether it's a throwing the football or whether they're a wide receiver or whatever, right? Guys just are not, bothered or whatever. They're just there, to face the adversity, right? The challenges that face them, at the combine, right? I said there's a lot of different things, right? So you got to give a lot of those guys a lot of credit because, I mean, unfortunately, the way it is nowadays, yeah, it's all about that, right? You got some guys that don't play in the final ball game because they don't want to get injured. Because they get injured, then will be taken in the top 5 of the draft. Some guys don't want to throw at the combine because their draft stock might plummet a little bit if they throw. So it's it is what it is. But I said that whoever does go to the combine and works out and does all the drills and everything like that, you got to give them a lot of credit. But so talked about Mr. Stafford here. He seems like he's the big I don't know. Well, some of the articles I've been reading and stuff, kind of the talk of the town, shall we say, for the time being. Now he is due a roster bonus, right? So I mean, we got about 4 weeks. And free agency's here. I mean, how crazy is that, right? But he's due a roster bonus about a week or so after free agency starts. So if he's on the Rams roster, they owe $4 million, I think it is. I'm going to read the article here. So, once again, this could all be just, one of those, crazy, It's kind of like, remember, like last year, what's going on with Saquon? We signed him? Is he going free agent? What's happening? What's going on, right? And of course, we know how that worked out, right? But, things like this happen every year. So this is the one thing we're talking about here. Now, you can almost be positive that if the Giants go and grab, grab Stafford, right? Just saying, right? They trade for him because in one of his articles talks about what it might cost, for a trade. And hey, I'm Adam Schefter. I'm Shefty. He chimes in on a certain point or a particular point about the Stafford trade that may or may not happen, right? So he chimes in as well. But the thing is that the Giants were to trade, because that's what they'd have to do for Matthew. It's not just picking a dude up in free agency. They'd have to trade for Matthew Stafford. Oops, sorry, buddy. It's going to cost some draft capital. So you can, they ain't trading away. We see here. I mean, I'd be shocked. They traded away some draft capital, and they took Shedeur Sanders at pick number 3, or they took Cam Ward at number 3. I'd really be shocked about that one. So it's going to be like either or, right? One or the other. But so what would be a some reasonable, offer, right? If they were to want to trade with the Rams. Now the thing is also, he has a contract with the Rams. Now it could also be something along the lines like the Giants. Sometimes how it winds up going is your draft. It might be worth also a little bit of money too, right? I mean, if you give him a good enough, if the Giants were to trade good enough draft capital, maybe, because he still has a contract. He's on a contract for 2 more years. Maybe the Rams might eat some of the contract, maybe a little bit. So, but once again, putting the cart before the horse. But let's see here. Where are we at here? Okay. This is Matthew Stafford. What would a sensible trade scenario for the Giants to obtain Matthew Stafford? This proposed trade scenario could work for both sides. Giants need a veteran quarterback that much is known not only deep within league circles, but also among anyone who follows the team and knows the game. Well, speculation begins to intensify that the Los Angeles Rams might be willing to move Matthew Stafford to a Giants team that some might view as desperate, given the grace period given to the general manager Joe Schoen and head coach Brian Daboll, there is a belief that the Rams are in the driver's seat when it comes to asking price for Stafford and can demand a first-round pick as part of the compensation for this contract. Who has the upper hand in the negotiations? The Rams are not in the driver's seat, far from it, thanks to their own doing. Stafford has a $4 million roster bonus due on March 19th, which would hit the Rams' salary cap if he is still on their roster by that date. Therefore, if they want to optimize their savings, it is in their best interest not to get into a back and forth scenario to try to move him. So while they can certainly go ahead and ask for as many first-round picks as they want, that doesn't mean that the Giants or any other team, for that matter, should agree. And yeah, I'm not giving. I mean, the bad. And certainly ain't no way in HELL hockey sticks I'm giving up the number 3 pick in the draft for if this guy was whatever 25 years old, 26, 20, or 30 maybe 30, he still had another 10 years to go in his career, 7-8 years to go in his career. Yeah, maybe think about that, but no, not now. So while they can certainly go ahead and ask for as many first-round picks as they want, that doesn't mean anybody's going to give it to them. CBS Sports' Tyler Sullivan, who put forth 3 potential trade scenarios for 3 different teams to acquire the Rams quarterback, has one that probably makes the most sense for the Giants. Sullivan proposes the Giants send their second-round pick, number 34 overall, and a 2026 second-round pick to the Rams in exchange for Stafford, and that the Giants not include the number 3 overall pick in the draft, which they currently own. If 2 second-round picks gets it done, it could be hard to deny for Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll, Sullivan wrote. While it'd be nice to find a more long-term option at this position, both of their seats are expected to be quite hot at the start of the season, and Stafford will give them a good chance to start strong and cool the temperature, which shouldn't be overlooked. Sullivan also pointed out that having an extra second-round pick this year wouldn't be bad for the Rams. Getting 2 second-round picks would still be a solid return for the Rams, especially number 34 overall. In theory, they could package that and their first-round pick, number 26, and to move up if a prospect that they like begins to drop, he says. So on the surface, it would be a win-win for both teams if such a deal were to happen. And I say, why is Stafford is the best option if available? For the Giants, though, who are planning to add a veteran anyway, Stafford represents the best option, and his presence would not necessarily remove the need to draft a quarterback this year. But you ain't taking one, number 3 overall would be just I'd be shocked. Maybe Jackson Dart, maybe in the 3rd round or something like, if he makes it that far, or somewhere one of the later round picks, right? But rather gives them a solid veteran option to take control of the offense. At the same time, a rookie acclimates, and before anyone argues that the 3rd overall pick should be ready to hit the ground running, remember, there is a precedent for the Giants to take this approach. New York did just that with Eli Manning. Right, the 1st overall pick in the 2004 draft, whom they acquired via trade. Manning sat for more than half a season behind Kurt Warner before he took control of the offense, and the Giants never looked back. Well, they looked back his first 6 starts, because when he went in, they were 5-4. By the time he won his final game, going into the final game of the season, he went from 5-4 to 5-10. So they finally won the final game of the season against the Cowboys. Biggest plus for the Giants, besides having a proven veteran option, is that it now gives them a little more flexibility with the 3rd overall pick. Giants, who are likely to rework Stafford's contract if they do acquire him via trade, will likely look to give him a 3 or 4 year deal with an out after 2 years, like Daniel Jones, right? Like what the Eagles do. right? They signed their quarterback, Jalen Hurts, at $51 million a year, but it's not really $51 million a year over 5 years. It's $51 million, kind of more like almost like 9 years, because the Eagles put void years on the end of the contract. So they're not actually paying the guys their full salary in the 5-year contract. They put it on credit card. It's all on credit card, right? The Philadelphia void years. The Giants and most of the other teams try to get the contracts off the books when the contract is up, right? So after the contract is up, the money's in the guy's pocket and the contract is off the books, right? If the Giants select the quarterback at number 3, that prospect can take his time developing. If he's ready this year, then great. If it's next year, then great. Either way, the Giants will have to have the veteran option as a fallback. The Giants don't like either of the top quarterbacks in this draft, and that's another one of the things. You have no idea. You can just say, well, we should take this. Whoa, what's up, buddy? No, I'm going to go over to Adam Schefter says, yeah, no way. No way in heck are they trading that number 3 pick. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Giants need OT in second if don't draft quarterback, offensive tackle. Ryder must have money. Oh, man. And the Giants don't like either of the top quarterbacks in this draft. And that's one of the things you don't know. You have no idea. I can sit here and say I looked at all the Shedeur Sanders tape and the Cam Ward film, and I broke it down, and these guys are top 3 guys. It doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks. It doesn't matter what Santa Claus thinks, what I think, what the Lucky Charms leprechaun thinks. It don't matter. It doesn't matter. Mel Kiper thinks. Doesn't matter. It matters what they think. Right? So let's not forget, right? If they don't like either one of the quarterbacks, they can go best player available. They got Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, Mason Graham. Right? One of those guys would be there without question. One of those guys has to be there. One of those 3 guys. Or trade down with a team that does. I mean, trade back if they wanted to. Collect some more draft picks. Now, that's also something to think about as well, too, right? They should figure if they're going to trade away their 2nd round pick to get Stafford, just saying, if, according to this article, right? The Giants might want to maybe trade back, collect some additional draft capital, right? The latter option would enable them to possibly recoup the 2nd round pick they'd give up in a trade for Stafford, plus maybe even get an extra 1st round pick in 2026 that they could use to get their long-term quarterback option from, right? Because the next year's class is supposed to be a little bit better than this year's class. And then final thoughts. If we had discussed this deal about 5 years ago, there would have been a little question of Stafford being worth at least a 1st round pick. Yep. Oh, yeah. But while he's still a very good quarterback capable of elevating the talent around him, the fact remains that he's not only approaching the tail end of his career, but he's also had some durability issues over the last several seasons. Now, that's one of the things, Giants do need to keep the dude upright. Guy starts getting pummeled. That's not going to be good. The proposed compensation of 2 second-round picks sounds more than fair for a team looking to move on from a 37-year-old quarterback and optimize its cap savings in the deal. The Rams insist on a 1st-round pick, though. You can be sure that it will be a deal breaker, not just for the Giants, but for any other team likely to have interest. Now, then you also have here. This is where Adam Schefter, the Shefty, slams the New York Giants Matthew Stafford trade rumors. Says, no way in HEL double hockey sticks it happens, he just says. If you're hearing rumors about the New York Giants trading their number 3 overall pick to Matthew Stafford, don't hold your breath. ESPN's Adam Schefter just shut that idea down completely, saying there's no way in HEL double hockey sticks the Giants would make that deal. Where did it all come from? It started when Colin Cowherd. Yeah, Colin. Yeah, I remember seeing that. He said he went on his show and he was proposing something. He proposed it to like an NFL executive, I believe it was, or something like that. And he came on. He said, "Yeah, I proposed the Giants. They said the Rams want the number 3 pick." So Colin Cowherd floated the idea that the Rams might trade Stafford to the Giants, who were in desperate need of a quarterback. Given Stafford's hefty contract and the Rams' rumored frustrations with him, the speculation gained traction. However, Schefter quickly killed the buzz. Absolutely, yeah. So that's not going to happen. I mean, I do remember, obviously seeing that about Colin Cowherd putting that out there. The Giants trade the number 3 pick and they'll get but that's not going to happen. So we'll have to wait and see. Who knows? At the time, it seemed like a good deal with the Giants. Remember, we got Darren Waller for a 3rd-round pick. That seemed pretty good at the time. Just at the time, it seemed like it doesn't seem too good now. But, so anything's possible. Anything's possible. I'll have to wait and see. But that's always something to keep an eye on, because I said in that article, is that when March 19th rolls around, if Stafford's still on the Rams, they owe $4 million. So if they're trying to save some money, just try to move them as soon as they can. As soon as they can. All right. This one here. This one here. This is there were certainly times this season where this was certainly not one of the Giants' strong suits. Not good at all. Matter of fact, they were really pretty. A couple of these metrics here, they were really, really bad. I mean, really, really bad. All right, and of course we're talking about obviously, right? You got you throw, you run, you block, and you tackle. Right? Well, for the Giants, key metric points to major area of improvement needed by the Giants defense: tackling. When it came to one of the most basic football skills, the New York Giants failed to make the grade last season. That skill is tackling, where according to NFL Next Gen Stats, the Giants ranked 25th out of 32 teams, earning a dismal 68.7 grade, which is apparently like a D+. Interesting, though, the Giants posted a 13.3 missed tackle rate, which was not far from the league average of just 13%. But what hurt the Giants was the yardage that ensued as a result of those tackles. Now, you can miss a tackle, right? And then somebody else is there to clean up the mess, and the guy gets an extra 3 yards or something like that. But that wasn't necessarily the case with the Giants. The Giants missed the tackle. Phew, it was expensive. According to the study, the Giants were one of 6 teams to give up over one. Now, of course, I get it. We're playing 17 games, so. Right, but Giants were one of 6 teams to give up over 1,000 yards after missed tackles. 1,000. I mean, if you look at it like that, right? So you take one, that's. I mean, just say he gave up 1,000 yards, and just right. I don't know what that would be in 17 games, like about 60 yards a game. Yeah, about 60 yards a game. Yeah, right around 60 yards a game. I mean, you put 60 yards on, not that it would happen all in one drive, but I mean, 60 yards. I mean, that'd get one team down the field. I mean, if they're starting at their own 20, right? Midfield, that'll put them down to your 20. If they start at their own 10 and 60 yards, it'll put them down to your 30. Right? I mean, and it's, a missed tackle. Obviously, keeps the drive alive. Right? It's 3rd down and 8. Right? You come up, they throw a whatever, screen pass, something like that. You come up there, you try to wrap up and tackle the guy. Right? It's 3rd and 8. Right? He catches the ball. You try to get him at 5 yards, and you miss him, and he gets 4 more yards. So he picks up 9 on a 3rd and 8, keeps the drive going, and that drive works. Well, I guess what they don't say here is a lot. They don't have any type of metric like how many drives stayed alive that wound up resulting in points that maybe wouldn't have resulted in points or something like that. They don't have anything like that at all. Because, especially if somebody's going to kick a field goal, you don't know if they're going to make the field goal or not or whatever. But, keeping these drives alive are just absolute killers. Absolute killers. So, according to the Giants, were 6 teams to give up over 1,000 yards after missed tackles, finishing 4th highest total in the league, 1,081 yards they gave up, and the 2nd highest average per miss, which was 6.3. Study also pointed to cornerback Drew Phillips, who missed tackles accounting for 167 yards gained after the missed tackles, 3rd most among all cornerbacks in the league. Now, one of the things, see, like if Dexter Lawrence would have missed a tackle, some of it, it obviously makes sense, right? If Dexter Lawrence misses a tackle, right? Usually half the defense kind of still behind him, to wrap up, but, when you got a cornerback or a safety misses a tackle, there's not many people left behind them to clean up the mess. But let's see here. 2024, the Giants had 5 defenders hit double-digit missed tackles, including Micah McFadden. He seems to do that quite a bit. He had 16. Jason Pinnock had 14. Andrew Phillips and Bobby Okereke each had 11. And safety Tyler Newman had 10. All members responsible for the second and back end of the defense. Now, that's the Giants finished with 156 missed tackles in 2024, 5 more than they had in 2023. So, of course, you're going to have missed tackles without question. But, you're getting paid, to bring guys down. You got to do a better job. Giants have a lot of work to work on this offseason. They need a quarterback. They need receivers that can and will catch the ball to help Malik Neighbors. They need an offensive line that actually protects the quarterback. Yes, what a concept, huh? And they need defensive players who actually make tackles. Before the 2024 season started, Next Gen Stats and Amazon Web Services collaborated on a new artificial intelligence model designed to estimate all 11 defenders' chances of making a tackle every 10th second of a play from scrimmage. Wow. They call this tackle probability. Using this model, metrics were tracked, and they have now assigned grades to all 32 teams' tackling ability. Giants ranked 25th among the league's worst. Oh, let me see. Can I click on it? Will it bring up? There we go. The Broncos and the Lions rank in the top 5. Wow, the Chiefs are number 1. Ravens are number 2. Broncos are number 3. Steelers are number 4. Lions are number 5. Eagles are number 6. Packers are number 7. Commanders are number 8. Vikings are number 9. I'm just going to stop there. What do those 9 teams all have in common? This first 9 teams tackling their grades, they all made the playoffs, right? What we got? What did I say? The Vikings, 85.8. They got a B. They were the 9th. The top 9 teams in tackling grades all made the playoffs. Right? Let's see here. Let's go down here to the bottom, right? You got the Browns, the Panthers, the Jets, the Colts, the Dolphins, the Raiders, the Saints, the Giants, the Falcons, the Jaguars, the Cardinals. So the bottom 10 or 11 teams didn't make the playoffs. You got to go to number 21 for a team that actually made the playoffs who had a bad tackling rate. So, but I mean, you want a good bring the guys down, tackle them and bring them down, right? Top 9 teams with tackling grades all made the playoffs. So, I mean, the Eagles had obviously very good defense, but the Chiefs had a very good defense. Chiefs were number 1. Chiefs had a very good defense. The Giants' defensive struggles in 2024 weren't limited to just one area, but tackling was a clear issue. Though their 13.3 missed tackle rate hovered right around the league average of 13%, the real problem was the damage those whiffs created. New York was just one of 6 teams. I went over this here. And we talk about, Andrew Phillips with 167 yards gained after his missed tackles. More than all but 2 corners across the league. So it's no secret the Giants' defense was atrocious at times in 2024, and the metrics support what we all saw. This is one area the Giants must have a huge focus on during the offseason. The offense has to be better, but they won't win any games without improving their defense, which is true. I mean, you don't know. I mean, that's one of the things that, they have those metrics and all that stuff and everything, but they don't know. They don't let you know, how many drives continued, right? Well, they missed a tackle here, and this guy missed a tackle, and it gave up a first down. Well, this first down, led the team down the field, and they wound up scoring points possibly off of this one missed tackle. They didn't say that, but I mean, it's obviously it's blocking. I mean, it sounds, stupid, sounds this, sounds that, but all that stuff, but it's blocking, tackling, running, holding on to the ball, throwing, catching, a lot of the basics, right? But, when you're on defense, it's tackling. And the Giants at times were really, really bad. Really, really bad with that. All right, now, assessing the Giants' salary cap health in 2025. Now, the Giants do have, there are a couple, they do have some good things going for them with their salary cap health 2025. Okay, so there are some teams that, obviously there's, their cap health is not quite as good, but the Giants are obviously number 1 as far as salary cap health or anything like that. But they do have, a couple things going for them. That is for sure. All right. Assessing the Giants' 2025 salary cap health. Giants' salary cap situation isn't bad at the moment, but General Manager Joe Schoen will still probably have to make some moves at some point. All right, the Giants' cap situation isn't as good as it's ever been to start a new league year, but the team is projected to have $43.38 million of total space based on a projected $272.5 million league cap year, okay, and $32.062 million in effective cap space for those contracts that will fall under the top 51, which begins on the first day of the new league year. On the surface, that cap space seems like plenty to fill many roster holes. But with quarterback and cornerback being among the team's most pressing needs, that money is expected to evaporate rather quickly. Fortunately for the Giants, they can create more space as needed. The first option is to trim the fat off the cap through the salary cap cuts. Like in recent years, though, the Giants don't have as many contracts that they can potentially unload that will yield significant savings. Cuts. The one that stands out the most is held by defensive lineman Nacho, right? Raheem Nunez-Roches, or Nacho, who has a $5.033 million cap figure this year. Nacho is in the final year of his 3-year contract and isn't owed any guaranteed money in 2025. Now, just to be fair, nice guy, great attitude, love his attitude, good, all that stuff and everything. But yeah, if you can cut him and say about $5 million, $3, $4, $5 million, I'm doing that in a heartbeat. He's just not living up to. When he came in, he was supposed to be able to stop the run. That's what he's supposed to be talking about. A guy, Nacho, he doesn't get many quarterback hits or pressure, but I'll tell you what, that dude shows up and that man's a run stuffer. I'm not saying much of it. Not that he's unbelievably horrible, but I'm sure you can let him go, save that money, right, and bring in somebody else a little bit cheaper, or draft somebody, right? Draft somebody who's cheaper. Like I said, if we got Carter, and then maybe you draft somebody else, right? Let's see. Yeah, he's also likely to compete against a very deep and talented defensive line class where a rookie contract will be far more affordable for a team. The Giants move on from Nacho. He's 32 years old, though, right? They would say $3.6 million and eat $1.433 in dead cap money. So they'd save a little over $3.5 million. Now this one too. This is a guy. They got McAtamney on there. They can also draft a kicker. There's also 300 trillion kickers floating around the stratosphere that they can bring in at any time, right? But unfortunately, kicker Graham Gano, right? His name's been floated as a potential cap casualty. Trimming him from the roster would say $3.165 million, with a $2.5 million dead cap hit if he is a pre-June 1 transaction. Right? Gano has been mentioned as a potential cap cut because, like Nacho, he doesn't have any more guaranteed money owed to him in his contract. There has also been some concern about Graham Gano's durability after 2 straight years with injuries. Right? But I would be very surprised if the Giants moved on from Gano this year. I wouldn't be, but we'll see. They talk about this too, right? Extensions. Extend some guys. Take their cap hits this year, drop it down, extend them over some periods of time, like Mr. Illuminor, right? Man who wants to be here, unlike that running back that went to Philadelphia, right? But Mr. Illuminor wants to be a Giant. One player who could be in line for a contract extension is guard/tackle Mr. Jermaine Illuminor, who is in the final year of his 2-year deal he signed last season. Illuminor currently holds a $9.191 million cap against the cap, of which $5.75 million is in his 2025 base salary. The question is whether the 31-year-old Illuminor would be open to an extension. As we learned during last year's Hard Knocks, the Giants wanted to sign the veteran offensive lineman to a 3-year contract, but he didn't want to commit that long and instead got a 2-year deal. So I'll have to wait and see. If we were open to an extension, the Giants could lower his base salary to $1.255 million, which is the minimum base for a veteran with at least 7 years accrued experience. Illuminor is entering his 9th NFL season. Tack on 2 more years, with the second one being a voidable year. Then the Giants could get quite a bit of money if they restructure some contracts. This is where the Giants can free up a lot more money if needed, like well over another 45 million. Right? The Giants' top 5 highest cap hits belong to Brian Burns, Sexy Dexy, Andrew Thomas, Bobby Okereke, and John Runyon Jr., all of whom have contracts that could be targeted for either a simple restructure or a maximum restructure, depending on the specific circumstances. A simple restructure involves converting part of the player's base salary into a signing bonus and spreading it out over the remaining life of the contract. Teams can make these moves with little to no involvement from the players, just so long as the player receives the equivalent or greater of what he is owed in his base salary for that year. A maximum restructure is when the base salary is reduced to the bare minimum with the years of accrued experience the player has, and the remaining money is converted into a signing bonus that is spread over the life of the contract and usually includes at least one voidable year to help minimize the impact of the conversion. Since this alters the contract's length, this entails an agreement on the player's part. But let's see. On the other hand, the Patriots and the Giants have no contracts with any void years. The Bears and the Steelers have no cap dollars in void years, and their only contracts that have been void years were acquired by trade. We got, let's see. As for other teams with the fewest cap dollars currently in void years, let's say there's a bunch. I mean, the Chiefs don't have many dollars in void years. The Eagles are number one. That's the only reason why they made it. That's the one to me. That's one of the biggest reasons why they went to the Super Bowl and had such a good team, because they can't afford to pay their players, so they have to put void years on the end of like 6, 7, 8 of their guys' contracts because they can't afford them. So that's why they have hundreds of millions of dollars in void year contracts. That's one of the biggest reasons why they went to this. To me, one of the biggest reasons why they went to the Super Bowl. Let's see. So what would the Giants be looking at in each scenario? According to Over the Cap, the team would gain up to $51.83 million with a simple restructure. This would boost their projected cap space to $83.895 million, presumably if they targeted the contracts with the biggest cap hits this year. If they pursued maximum restructure, the Giants could gain up to $80 million in cap space with a potential estimated cap space of $112 million. The obvious drawback with restructures is that a team pushes potential dead money into future years, which can get them into cap trouble if they don't use that tactic judiciously and accurately forecast the cap's potential year-over-year growth. So then what? As of right now, Schoen doesn't have to do anything with the cap unless, in addition to signing a veteran quarterback, which is not going to come cheap, he has another major move or two in mind. The other factor to consider is if Schoen intends to extend any contracts coming up for renewal, much like how he extended Andrew Thomas and Dexter Lawrence before they reached the end of their contracts. Right now, Schoen has little to consider extending, which is alarming for a team that seems to have a revolving door of players coming in and leaving after only one contract, which is true. It's already noted Luminor is one such candidate for an extension, though the Giants' intention to add a young offensive tackle in the draft could change any such plans, which is true. Inside linebacker Michael McFadden might be another potential extension candidate. McFadden is in the final year of his rookie contract, and if the Giants ultimately plan to move on from Bobby Okereke, whose contract ends in 2026, perhaps having a starting duo of McFadden and Darius Muasau, the latter of whom would still be on his rookie contract, would be the way to go. Giants could also consider extending outside linebacker Kayvon Thibodeau. If the team picks up his fifth-year option, which is likely to happen, he would be due a whopping $16.6 million base salary in 2026. In this case, the Giants might be better off waiting to see what kind of start Thibodeau gets to the 2025 season before presenting him with a new contract. Well, let's just say. Giants have the resources to fix many problems with their roster if they make the right moves. But this won't be easy because the more challenges a team has, the more it must prioritize what gets addressed first, and we all know how that works. The one or two areas that don't get prioritized usually ends up biting the team in the rear end the hardest. That which is true. That is absolutely true. So I mean, the Giants, they have options. They have options. I mean, they could go out. I'm just throwing this out there. They could. They wanted to trade and bring Matthew Stafford in. They could do that. They could obviously sign their draft class. They have moves that they could make. Right, they could sign a draft class, bring in Matthew Stafford, have an additional. If they made some moves and have some additional money for for the rest of the season, they could bring in a few more free agents if they want. So there are things that they could do without question. without question. But one first things first. But you don't know what Joe Schoen is prioritizing, and no, we will have to wait and see. But the Giants have some options, and one of the nice things is they're talking about is the Giants have like no contracts with void years on. Right? Meaning like when a guy is gone from the team, right? The guy's still on the books. He has like void years, as I said, which is what the Eagles do. The Eagles have like $300 or $400 million in void year contracts, like all pushed down the future. So, worked out for the Eagles because, hey, if you win a Super Bowl, right, it works out well. But if you push all this money down the future, right, and to get in all these good players that you can't afford to pay, right, and you don't win a Super Bowl, well, that's what comes back to bite you in the rear end. But for this year, it worked out well for the Eagles. Now, this is something I didn't think I'd ever say. I was a little shocked about this one. Putting up the for sale sign. Now, it's not so much as like, Mara, of course, I always see all the time, all the Facebook groups and stuff like that. I see somebody puts a picture up of Mr. Mara up there, and underneath it'll say, "Please sell the team" or something like that, or whatever. Well, it's not like that. Now, obviously, Eli Manning was talking about becoming maybe a minority owner of a team. Right? This might be his opportunity, right? Because the Giants are trying to sell maybe up to, I believe, possibly, they're floating the idea around. And there was a company that they have in charge, right, of possibly, selling up to 10%, which is about $730 million. I think the Giants were at $7.3 billion, baby. Yeah. So it'll be $730 million. Now, of course, the Giants, I see Mr. Tisch and Mr. Mara split half of that. Was at $365 after they pay taxes on it. Yeah, I don't know. They bring home about $42 out of that, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what the going rate is on $365 million, but so we'll get hit on hard on it. But I didn't think I'd ever actually wind up seeing something like that happen. The Giants sell them, but let's see. The Giants hire Moelis, 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 to sell minority stake in the team. New York Giants have hired investment bank Moelis. I'm going to say Moelis and Company to sell a minority stake in the NFL team, launching a rare chance to invest in one of the NFL's flagship franchises. Giants join a clutch of NFL teams looking to sell minority stakes, driven in part by recent rule changes allowing private equity investors to become part owners. But those owners don't have any say in what happens. So, the Mara and Tisch families have retained Moelis and Company to explore the potential sale of a minority non-controlling stake in the New York Giants. There will be no further comment in regard to the process, the team said in the statement. Giants are one of the 5 teams that joined the NFL in 1925. One of the 5 teams that joined? Now the Cardinals and the Bears. One of 5 teams that joined in 1925. What? That guy talking about? It was the Decatur Staleys in 1920, who became the Chicago Staleys in 1921, who became the Chicago Bears in 1922. It was the Chicago Cardinals in 1920, and it was the Green Bay Packers in 1921. Right? Giants joined the NFL in 1925. There's other teams. I said the Bears and the Cardinals were around since 1920. The Packers joined in 1921, and the Giants joined in 25. But, so it says here the Giants are one of 5 teams that have joined the NFL in 1925. So that's wrong. But and have been owned by the Mara family since then. In 1991, the Tisch family bought 50% of the team. Giants have struggled of late, last winning the Super Bowl. Yeah, we know this. Let's see. Many NFL owners are older and are considering increasingly complex succession planning, particularly as the value of the teams have soared into the billions of dollars. President Donald Trump is also looking to eliminate the existing special tax breaks for billionaire sports team owners, a move that would likely spur more deals if enacted. Late last year, the Dolphins sold a stake to somebody as the Arctos Partners acquired a piece of the Buffalo Bills, too. So, unlike controlling owners who can only invest in one team at a time, private equity investors will be able to buy stakes in as many as 6 teams at once. Interesting. Giants sale process was first reported by the Sports Business Journal. So, and we got something here too. Looking to sell a minority stake in the team per report. As I said, Eli Manning was looking to get in. So, this might be he might be getting his foot in the door, have a small minority ownership in the New York Football Giants. The Giants are looking to sell the 10% stake of the team, according to Sports Business Journal. Let's see, is this the? Okay. The Mara and Tisch family each own 50% of the franchise. Tim Mara, obviously current Giants. Current owner John Mara's grandfather established the franchise in 1925 for $500. Bob Tisch, father of current owner Steve Tisch, bought half the team from the Mara family in 1991 for about $75 million. Forbes' most recent valuation of the Giants came in at $7.3 billion, baby, making it the 4th most valuable franchise in the NFL. You got the Cowboys. They always seem like the number one. The Rams at 7.6 and the Patriots at 7.3 had higher values. Now, I'm just kind of wondering if the Patriots, because of the Tom Brady, Belichick kind of thing. So I wonder if their value is going to start leveling off a little bit now that they're not going to be winning a Super Bowl every other year. Let's see. The sale of the team would not change much for the Giants because the Mara and Tisch families would still control the franchise. Says the reason for the sale of the team is unknown, according to the report. If the Giants receive roughly 10% of the last Forbes valuation, they would end up with around $700 million from the sale. Giants have the worst record in the NFL over the last 8 seasons, but because they play in such a large market and have success in the past, they should be plenty of interest. So, yeah, so without question, something to keep an eye on. Yeah, but I mean, it's not like somebody's coming in there and they're buying they're buying part of the franchise, and they're going to start coming in here and start cleaning house and start making changes and this and that and everything like that. So that's not going to happen. But something that did happen, it's not something to really get super duper, really overly, wonderfully, magnificently excited about. But Giants have signed 2 former Super Bowl champs. Now, of course, they were Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, but one's not Patrick Mahomes and the other one's not Travis Kelce. So I got news flash for you. It's not nothing super spectacular. Just guys, I believe I said if I read these articles, I think they signed just the futures contracts and just they're just going out there doing their due diligence. Right. All right. Giants signed 2 Super Bowl champions to contracts. 2 former Kansas City Chiefs to contracts for the 2025 season. Super Bowl pedigree comes in all shapes and sizes, but in generally it doesn't come in come in the form of futures contracts at the beginning of the offseason. Nevertheless, the Giants' endless pursuit of competitiveness, churning the bottom of the roster, has brought them to the Kansas City Chiefs. On Friday, the Giants signed 2 Super Bowl champions to future contracts per their agency. The signings include defensive back Nick Jones and receiver Montrell Washington. Both were members of the 2023 team that took down the 49ers in the Super Bowl. Right? To the ire of most New York fans, but not the rest of the league, Kansas City couldn't compete this season, or couldn't complete their three-peat, right? The Chiefs were blown out in the Super Bowl. Now we got, Nick Jones, a 2023 7th-round pick, saw infrequent playing time in Kansas City. He appeared in just one game this past season. As a rookie, he saw playing time in 9 games, locking 4 tackles, a tackle for loss, and a quarterback hit. Now, he also had a lot of, he played a lot on special teams, too. I'm going to go over some of that. He offers a mediocre athletic profile with a worrying 9 bench press reps. 9. So, during his pre-draft cycle to show for his strength and a 190-pound frame, he played 9 special team snaps this year. So, we got here. Neither Jones nor Washington contributed anything close to a meaningful capacity. Washington, like Jones, played in just one game on Kansas City's trip to New Orleans for Super Bowl 59. He also appeared on special teams, but he hasn't recorded a statistic on offense since 2022 when he was with the Broncos. Under the tutelage of former head coach Nathaniel Hackett, the Samford receiver saw more yards on the ground than through the air, a measly 30 yards on 5 attempts compared to 9 targets for 4 catches and 2 yards. If there's any reason for New York to be interested, it likely revolves around Washington's explosiveness. At 5'9", 181 pounds, it's not very big, he needs to be quicker than fast, or he won't survive. Thus, it's no coincidence that Denver tried him in some gadget capacity, hoping to find a big play. Both contracts are for the 2025 season, although their spot on the 90-man roster may not be anything more than an extended look at a potential practice squad acquisition, which is quite possible. All right, let's see here. Got whoops. There we are. Giants signed 2 Chiefs to futures contracts. Giants have signed a pair of players from the AFC champion Kansas City Chiefs to their practice squad. The Giants have signed cornerback Nick Jones and wide receiver Montrell Washington to futures contracts. The agency for the players, JL Sports, made the announcement on social media. Jones is 6 foot tall, 189 pounds, with a 7th-round pick out of Ball State by the Chiefs in 2023. He played 9 games for the Chiefs in 2023 and 1 in 2024. Here is a pre-2023 draft scouting report of Jones, who's 23. Jones is a long cornerback with average speed, but a natural feel for making plays on the football. He's more confident and consistent at maintaining his feel for the route from press than from off man. Jones plays with a lane jumping mentality in and off coverage when flat-footed, but could succumb to double moves in the pros. Shoddy tackling will work against him, but teams will appreciate his ability to challenge punts. Let's see what we got. Challenge punts and kicks off the edge. Jones might find work as a backup in a press-heavy scheme if he tests well. Washington, who turns 26 next month, was a 5th-round pick by the Broncos in 2022. He's 5'10", 170 pounds. He appeared in 1 game for the Broncos in 2022, catching 4 passes for just 2 yards and rushing 5 times for 30 yards. Washington spent the 2024 season on the Kansas City practice squad. As a senior at Samford, Washington caught 93 passes for 1,086 yards and 10 touchdowns, had 74 carries, 801 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Returned 8 kickoffs for 283 yards and a touchdown, and returned 5 punts for 95 yards. He amassed 2,265 all-purpose yards that season. So, but let's see. Yeah, the Nick Jones, 2023. He was on special teams. He played, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. He played in 13 games in 2023, including the Super Bowl, right? So he played in the wild card, divisional playoff game, the championship game, and the Super Bowl. So he played 9 regular season games plus 4 playoff games. He had a grand total of 159 special team snaps. He graded out a 61.1, nothing super spectacular, nothing super horrible. He had 3 tackles, 1 assisted tackle. His past season here in 2024, he had a grand total of 9 snaps on special teams, 5 on kick coverage, 4 on punt coverage. He graded out 42.6. So he missed a tackle. So I mean, it's just this is certainly by no stretch of the imagination something to get excited about. Be jumping up and down about it. It's just something that the Giants just going out there just doing their due diligence. Maybe they somebody out there picking up something. Maybe they can. We're talking about here. One of these guys, maybe a gadget player. We'll have to wait and see. But if you never hear their name ever again, or if they wind up on the practice squad for the Giants as all season long, don't be overly surprised about it, because just once again, they're just doing their due diligence. That's all. All right, then they got here. Whoops. Now this one could be a little. Let's see where we're at here. Get a little excited about. Now the Giants, they added quite a few guys, right? Quite a few guys to their the coaching staff and all that. I mean, it happens every year. Every year. It's not like the Giants lost some guys. It's like, oh my God, we're all jumping ship, right? Right? No, it happens at every team. Oh yeah. Guys come and go. It's the nature of the beast, right? But the Giants, one thing I was a little shocked about, and not exactly sure what's happening, was, let's see, is it here? Yep. Yeah, Brian Daboll's son leaves New York Giants to pursue other avenues. Interesting. It's like he brought him here, right? And now his son's leaving. I want pursuing other avenues. I kind of wondered, is there other avenues in the football world, or he's just like, man, screw this, man. I'm doing something else. But I saw that. I'm like, wow, his son's leaving too, huh? But I think I was a little excited about that was Mr. Brown, right? I mean, he's kind of like a little bit of a Swiss Army knife here, right? I mean, he's a Patriot Hall of Famer, right? He's not going to be an NFL Hall of Famer, but a Patriot Hall of Famer, right? He's won 3 Super Bowls with the Patriots, right? Did a lot of things. And this is one of those things. I'm going to read this. I mean, in this one article. I think it's in this one article. This is what they tell you. When you pick off a pass, right? Not so much it would have iced the game or whatever like that or something like that. But sometimes when you pick off a pass, and you got a chance maybe to almost eliminate the other team by just taking a knee, right? You do it. Because the one game, Mr. Brown, They played in they played in against the Chargers. The Chargers were winning by 8 points. Toward the end of the game, right? Brady threw, I think he said it was his third interception in the day, right? Guy got the ball, intercepted the ball, started to return the ball, right? Troy Brown, we're going to be talking about it in a second, ripped the ball out of the dude's arm. It was a fumble, and the Patriots recovered it. Patriots got the ball back. They were down by 8. They marched down the field, got a touchdown. And then they got what? Yep, they got the 2-point conversion, right? When they did what? Yep, they tied the game up. Then what did they do? They won it in overtime, right? And the Patriots went on to win the Super Bowl, right? And the guy just caught the ball, secured the ball, whatever, just took a knee or something like that, instead of trying to run around with it or whatever, took a knee, right? Gave the Chargers the ball, right? Maybe the Patriots don't score. Maybe the Chargers go to the Super Bowl, right? But one of those things. But anyway, this is something they might be a little excited about here, right? Giants taking another step forward, finally trying to fix their offensive mess. Troy Brown is bringing the juice to New York. Now, as I said, I'll tell you what, Troy was like a Swiss Army knife. The guy did a lot of everything. He was never, he played defensive back. He played wide receiver. He returned kicks. He returned punts. He ran the ball. Guy did frickin' just about everything, right? Giants are in full on-demand control mode after back-to-back brutal seasons, and Brian Daboll knows his job is on the line. To help turn things around, the team is bringing in a familiar face from his New England days, Patriots Hall of Famer Troy Brown. Brown has been hired as an offensive assistant under the NFL Minority Coaching Fellowship, and while his exact role hasn't been specified, his experience in multiple facets of the game makes him a valuable addition to a Giants staff that could use all the help it can get. You got that right, brother. Brown's playing career is the stuff of legend. He was a Swiss Army knife for Bill Belichick's dynasty, served as a wide receiver, a punt returner, and even a defensive back when needed. His coaching career has been just as versatile. He's worked with running backs, wide receivers, returners during his time with the Patriots. That kind of experience is exactly what the struggling Giants offense needs. Daboll has been reshuffling his coaching staff this offseason, adding Chad Hall as an assistant quarterback coach and now bringing in Brown. With the Giants finishing near the bottom of the league in offensive production, it's clear they need fresh ideas and better play development. You got that right. Oh, my goodness. Brown's expertise, especially with receivers and special teams, could provide a much-needed spark. Troy Brown could be a game changer. Brown isn't just a former player with a name recognition. He's a proven developer of talent. During his time in New England, he helped Gunnar Olszewski, right, become a first-team All-Pro punt returner in 2020. And, Lord knows what he would have done for us last year, but the frickin' dude got injured. It was his groin, I think it was, and he's out the whole season. Anyway, he worked with Patriots running backs in 2020, helping Damian Harris and Sony Michel combine for 1,140 rushing yards, and then transitioned to be coaching the wide receivers in 2021. There's not much this guy don't know. Giants need help in all these areas. You got that right. The receiver room, outside of rookie standout Malik Neighbors, struggled to create separation and make plays. And with the Giants' backfield figuring itself out, Brown's experience coaching running backs could be an underrated asset. Another area where Brown could make an impact, the slot receiver position. You got that right. During his playing days, he was Tom Brady's go-to weapon underneath, setting the blueprint for future Patriots slot receivers like Wes Welker and Julian Edelman. If anyone can help Wan'Dale Robinson take a step forward, it's Brown. Now, I said, Wan'Dale had a phenomenal season, right? I mean, for the most part, he stayed healthy, but his yards per reception were just very low. Very low. We really need to get that up there. At the end of the day, this is a smart hire by Daboll. Giants desperately need to get more out of their offensive personnel, and Brown's history of getting the most out of his players' talent should help. Whether or not it's enough to save Daboll's job remains to be seen, but at least the team is finally making moves to fix its many issues. Many issues. All right, here we go. Giants and Patriots Hall of Famer, who's a Brian Daboll favorite. Brown, who won 3 Super Bowls as a wide receiver, kick returner, and defensive back for Patriots, will be an offensive assistant as part of, once again, the NFL Minority Coaching Fellowship, which is a fantastic, absolutely fantastic idea. Love it. Great. Get more people involved. It's fantastic. Let's see. Daboll's affinity with Brown dates back to former days as wide receivers coach in New England from 2002 to 2006. Those were some of Brown's most prolific seasons, and also a time when he showed off his versatility by splitting time between offense and defense. I mean, it was funny because, I think it was number 80, seeing a guy like in the defensive secondary, like a cornerback at like number 80. It was just kind of odd. Experience in all 3 phases of football helped Brown begin his coaching career overseeing multiple position groups for the Patriots. His range of knowledge should be useful in multiple ways to help the Giants, the rebuilding Giants team. All right, here we go. So okay. Well, I mean, he was the first in a long line of intelligent and productive slot receivers who became the go-to targets for Tom Brady. Brown also was a dangerous punt returner whose 55-yard touchdown against the Steelers in the 2001 AFC Championship game helped the Patriots book their first of what could be 9 Super Bowl appearances during the Belichick-Brady era. Let's see here. All right. Yep. Is that it? Yep. There must have been another article I was reading in. Yeah, and I know, so it's someplace. About when he pulled the 2001, the 2000 champion, already glittering career when Brown played cornerback and snatched 3 interceptions in 2004. Yeah, so, but so a lot of things you can do. Similar help will be available to the Giants wideouts after Brown spent 3 seasons coaching receivers at Gillette Stadium. He helped 6th-round pick Douglas, a slot receiver in the Brown mold, break a team record during his debut campaign in 2023. Brown's influence could revive Giants slot pass catcher Wan'Dale Robinson, who's posted mediocre numbers. Right? Daboll needs more from Robinson to prevent defense from doubling alpha target Malik Neighbors. Absolutely. Whatever role Brown has for the Giants should also extend it to special teams. After the 53-year-old was a kick return coach for all 4 seasons on the Patriots staff. Brown's coaching helped Gunnar Olszewski earned All-Pro honors as a punt returner in 2020. Olszewski hasn't made the grade with the Giants, but last season, he did pretty good 2 years ago, but this past season he got injured. Right? But the team may feel different about free agent Emir Smith-Marset after he played the 100-yard kickoff return against the Colts. Brown will add a voice of authority at as many as 4 key positions. His history of playing on both sides of the ball could also make the Giants more appealing landing spot for the 2025 NFL Draft Class star Travis Hunter. The cornerback and wide receiver makes sense as a target for the Giants with the 3rd overall pick. Brown's influence extending that far is probably a stretch, but his presence at least gives Daboll another friendly face on the staff ahead of a pivotal season. And Brian Daboll needs his allies, absolutely. Daboll is on a warning from team president John Mara to finally get things right after just 9 wins across the last 2 seasons. Reshuffling his staff is a logical response for a head coach under this much pressure. Brown is a coach who knows how Daboll works, but he's not the only familiar face added to the coaching brain trust. Giants also hired Chad Hall as an assistant quarterback coach, a move that might have implications for any pursuit of Los Angeles Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford. So, now that, I mean, the Giants, they've added, without question, some, where are we at here? There we go. Giants have added, they've added some coaches, without question. Now, some of them, they're going to be like kind of low down on the totem pole. You're not even going to like ever hear from them. They're never going to speak to the media or nothing like that. But the Giants, they brought in some guys, right? Obviously, Brown was one of them. Brown could want to be, he's not going to be the offensive coordinator, right? He's not the defensive coordinator or something like that. So he's not going to have a huge hand in, but, he could be one of those sneaky kind of guys, right? Well, all of a sudden, maybe, right? You look up next year and Wandell's averaging 11 yards of reception. It's like, wow, that's pretty good. I think it was like 7.80 average this past season or something. It was just like, a lot of catches. It's not a lot of yards. But if anybody can, maybe get him a little bit, get him some extra yards per reception, might be Mr. Brown. But the Giants, they brought in some, where we at there? All right, they announced, Giants announced additions to the 2025 staff. All right. So they got Manuel is the new secondary coach, defensive pass game coordinator. Jeff Burris will coach the cornerbacks. Right? Chad Hall, who we just talked about, will serve as the assistant quarterback coach. Of course, Troy Brown will be an offensive assistant as part of the NFL Minority Coaching Fellowship. Steve Ferentz and Grant Morgan have been hired as defensive assistants. Giants also added 3 new members to the Strength and Conditioning Performance Department under Aaron Wellman. The Executive Director of Player Performance, Dr. Matthew Frakes, will be the Director of Performance Nutrition, and Chris Allen and Mark Naylor have been brought on as assistant strength and coordinating coaches. In addition, Drew Wilson has been promoted to Director of Strength and Conditioning. All right, so we got Manuel. Spent the 4 seasons as the Jets defensive back safeties coach. Has been in the NFL for 2 decades as a player and a coach, earning trips to the Super Bowl as both. Prior to joining the Jets, Manuel served as the defensive back coach for the Eagles in 2020 and 4 seasons in Atlanta, versus the secondary coach, senior defensive assistant, before being promoted to the defensive coordinator in 2017 and 2018. In his first season as a coordinator in 2017, the defense ranked in the top 10 in scoring defense, 8th, total defense, 9th, rushing defense, 9th, and red zone defense, 5th. First NFL position came in Seattle as a special teams assistant in 2012, before serving as defensive assistant in 2013 and assistant secondary coach in 2014. In his 3 seasons with the Seahawks, the team advanced to 2 Super Bowls, earning a victory in the Super Bowl. I was with while the defense allowed the fewest passing yards per game in 2014, a 6th-round pick in 2002 NFL draft out of Florida. Manuel played with 6 teams in 8 seasons. So we just talked about Brown, that he just brought in. Then Burris served as a co-defensive coordinator, safeties coach for Louisiana Tech last season. A first-round selection in 1994 NFL draft and a former All-American safety at Notre Dame. Burris returned to Louisiana Tech after a 3-year stint as cornerbacks coach at Louisiana Lafayette. During his first stint with Louisiana Tech, Burris coached defensive backs Jarius Sneed and Amik Robertson, who were selected with back-to-back picks in the 4th round of the 2020 NFL Draft by the Kansas City Chiefs and the Las Vegas Raiders, respectively. He spent the 2017 season on the Northern Iowa football coaching staff, coaching the cornerbacks for the Panthers. 2016, he returned to Notre Dame as a senior defensive analyst after 3 seasons as the assistant defensive back coach with the Dolphins. Then Ferentz most recently coached outside linebackers at the University of South Dakota following 3 seasons with the Dolphins, where he was an assistant linebacker coach. Played tight end and offensive line for the University of Iowa from 2012 to 2016. He was the youngest child of Mary and Kirk Ferentz, the head coach of Iowa. His brother James is the Giants' assistant offensive line coach. Hall, here we go, finished his 2nd season as a wide receivers coach for the Jaguars and his 6th season as a wide receivers coach in the NFL. Spent 6 seasons on the Buffalo Bills staff from 2017 to 2022. So there's familiarity there with Hall, with Daboll, and Schoen, right? Obviously, he overlapped with Daboll as an offensive coordinator. Joe Schoen is the assistant general manager at the time. Hall was in charge of the wide receiver room for 4 years after being promoted from the offensive assistant in 2019. 2021, he helped Stephon Diggs be selected to his 2nd consecutive Pro Bowl and become the first Bill with 100-plus receptions in consecutive seasons. Diggs set an NFL record for receptions in a player's first 2 seasons with the team, 230. Whew. Of course, doesn't hurt that he had Josh Allen as his quarterback either. Right? Under Hall, Gabriel Davis also set an NFL playoff record by catching 4 touchdowns. Oversaw a receivers room in 2020 that took the Buffalo offense to new heights, helping both Stephon Diggs and Cole Beasley earn All-Pro honors. Diggs set franchise records and led the NFL with 127 receptions for 1,535 yards on the season. Hall played wide receiver for the Eagles, 49ers, the Chiefs. In college, Hall played running back at the United States Air Force Academy for 3 years. He was the only player in the country to lead his team in rushing and receiving during his senior season. Wow. Then Morgan, former Arkansas All-American Grant Morgan, comes off his first season as an assistant linebacker coach at Illinois. He helped the Illini to a 10-3 record, tying the program's single-season mark for most victories. Entered the coaching profession after finishing his playing career at Arkansas in 2021 and spending the 2022 season with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Dr. Frakes joined the LSU as an assistant athletic director of sports nutrition in December of 2021. He led the LSU sports nutrition team, overseeing the strategic nutrition direction for all student athletes on campus. Allen rejoined the University of Arizona strength and conditioning staff in June of 2023 as an assistant director of performance enhancement. Returned to Tucson after 2 years at his alma mater, West Virginia. I got so many guys here. I'm just going to quickly go over this stuff. Naylor spent 4 seasons with the Arizona Cardinals as an assistant strength and conditioning coach after joining the team in 2020. Spent the previous 2 seasons as the director of football performance at Eastern Kentucky University, following 7 seasons as the assistant strength and conditioning coach at the University of Michigan. And then finally, Wilson joined the Giants in 2021. He served his first 3 seasons as an assistant strength and conditioning coach before becoming the assistant director of strength and conditioning in 2024. Wilson came to East Rutherford after a 4-year stint as the director of football strength and conditioning at the University of Colorado. Prior to working for the Buffaloes, he spent 5 years as the director of strength and conditioning at the University of Maryland. So Wilson comes in, highly with the strength and conditioning. He's done a lot of that throughout his career. And then finally, got one more thing here. It allows me to pop it up here. Finally, one more thing we got here. I seen this Gotta find here. There we go. Now, I've seen that people, they come up with this stuff. It's, landing spots for guys and stuff like that and all. And I already know. And, the guy here they're talking about, Giants' possible landing spot for a former Cowboy. Now, it's quite possible he's going to become a former Cowboy because the Cowboys are really cap-strapped. This guy's Odigizua. He needs a new contract, and the Cowboys ain't got no money. So there's a good chance he's going to be going to go bye-bye. Now, it would be interesting, if he was going to wind up. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, coming to the Giants, but obviously it costs some money. And the one thing is that he is very good rushing. He's kind of undersized, but he's very good at rushing the quarterback, which should be great for the Giants. But one of the Giants' biggest problems is that they need somebody to help stop the run. And that wasn't Odighizua's biggest asset, shall we say, right? But Cowboy star could leave for a $63 million mega contract with the Bengals, Giants, or Commanders. Yeah, Bengals need help too. Absolutely. The Dallas Cowboys find themselves in a tough spot entering the 2025 offseason as the team has many needs to address and pending free agents to re-sign, but not a lot of cap space to get it done. According to Over the Cap, the Cowboys are estimated to be $2.8 million over the salary cap in 2025, which amounts to the seventh worst situation in the NFL. Only the Saints, the Browns, the Bills, the Seahawks, the Dolphins, and the Falcons have it worse. One of the team's key pending free agents, defensive lineman Osa Odighizuwa, is coming off a breakout year and is destined to see a big payday in free agency as a result, which will obviously make it tough for Dallas to keep him. So what can we expect from Odighizuwa to make? Well, the 33rd team, Marcus Mosher, I'm going to say, hope I didn't pronounce the name wrong, but predicts he'll land a 3-year, $63 million deal, which works out to $21 million a year. That would place him tied for 13th in annual average with the New England Patriots' Christian Barmore and the San Francisco 49ers' Javon Hargrave. He led all interior defenders in quarterback hits this season and is a force as a pass rusher despite less than stellar sack totals. He's on the smaller side for a defensive tackle, but teams prioritizing pass rush ability and durability will fall in love with Odighizuwa this offseason. Look for Odighizuwa to earn a contract worth at least $20 million per season. Given the lack of depth at defensive tackle in free agency, it wouldn't be a surprise if he earned significantly more. Wow. We saw Christian Wilkins sign a deal worth upwards of $27 million last year, and Odighizuwa is younger and far more durable. There could be some sticker shock when his deal is announced early in free agency. When it comes to projected suitors for Odighizuwa, Mosher sees that the Bengals, the Commanders, and the Giants make a run at him. But the thing is, once again, Odighizuwa is an okay run defender, but he really shines when getting after the quarterback. The former third-round pick tallied a career-high 4.5 sacks last season. You're in a top-notch 78.5 Pro Football Focus pass rush grade now. The interior of the defensive line is one of the biggest needs for the Bengals, Giants, and Commanders, so those are strong suggestions from Mosher, but the Giants also want one who can stop the run, too. But there are going to be more than just 3 teams interested in Odighizuwa, and all of them are likely to have more cap space to work than with the Cowboys. At this point, it would be surprising if he's with the Cowboys in 2025, which is true. The one thing is, I said, is that I have a hard time is that I mean, the Giants have other needs, but you can't have too many pass rushers, right? It doesn't hurt to beef up the defensive line without any question. I would love to see him do it through the draft. There are a lot of good defensive tackles in this draft here, right? If they don't go defensive line in the first round, maybe the second round, maybe somebody in the third round to get somebody early. Don't take a Jordan Riley or DJ Davidson later on. I mean, if you want some depth, do it that way. But if you're looking for somebody with some immediate impact, somebody that can provide you with some good results in there, get somebody early. You can never hurt drafting somebody early on the defensive side, right? The defensive line. I mean, it's nice to get these sexy picks and all that and everything, but it all wins in the trenches, right? But there aren't. I mean, there's quite a few, free agents. Let's see what we got here. I'm not even going to do edge rushers. I'm just going to do interior defenders. All right. So according to PFF, Odighizuwa is their top interior defender, right? Then you got Milton Williams, who is now let's see here. He's projected 3 years, $21 million. The same thing. Let's see. Okay, Odighizuwa, PFF predicts Odighizuwa 4 years, 21.25 annual average. Then they got Milton Williams. As I said, 3 years, $21 million. Let's see. And they got somebody from, then there's somebody from the Lions, Levi Zurike, maybe. 2 years, $8.25 million. BJ Hill, I think we all know him, right? He come cheap, basically cheap. 2 years, $10 million. That's if you even want to come back to the Giants. Who knows? But, he was, he did pretty well last year for a not a very good Cincinnati Bengals team. Then, of course, you got 97-year-old Calais Campbell is apparently still out there. He's 38 years old. Oh, my God. He's projected to have a 1 year, $3 million deal, right? Although he graded out he's been graded last year, graded out at 82.3. Year before that, he graded out at 80. So he's still playing at a high level. I mean, but you don't expect a whole ton from him. But, I mean, you expect somebody, as big and as strong as he is that, may be really good in the run game, right? Calais Campbell says the ageless wonder put together a sensational 2024 season as he nears 40 years of age with a trade-off in his own paraphrased words of losing some speed over time but maintaining brute strength. This reality is reflected in Campbell's elite PFF run blocking grade. Run blocking? Run blocking. Yeah. As he can still hold up the point of attack as well as anyone. I mean, I tell you what, if you can bring a Calais Campbell in here for $3 million, I'd rather have him here than Nacho for $3 million. Jaron Reed, he was with the Seahawks. He's projected to get a 1 year, $6 million deal. Poona Ford with the Chargers, he's projected to have a 1 year, $3.5 million deal. Now, I mean, he graded out last year, according to PFF, he graded out at 85.3 overall. Ford had a major bounce back year with the Chargers that did pretty much every Charger on the list. He was a disruptive force in the interior of the defensive line that saw a major jump in its effectiveness in 2024 compared to 2023. Ford seems to get dinged for his size and lack of draft pedigree, but whenever a team gives him a run, he simply makes plays. Deshaun Wharton, he was with the Chiefs. 2 year, $8.25 million per year. Tier Tart, He was with the Chargers once again. Tart was with Ford. They both did very, very well. Tart is rejected to have a 1-year deal worth $2.5 million. He graded out at a 78 this past season. And DJ Jones, 2 years, $9 million per year. He was with Denver. He graded out at a 67 overall. Jones is still one of the more disruptive run defenders in the NFL when shooting the gaps, with his 11.3% run stop rate, ranking third among interior defenders in 2023. 2024. However, he also has missed more tackles over time. Nonetheless, there's a role for a one technique run stuffer with the occasional pass rush juice. So there are guys out there. Now, I'm not exactly sure if the Giants, want to go, Diggy Zua. I'm not. The Giants have so many needs. Oh, Vinny G-Man's in the house, buddy. What's going on, brother? Hey, better late than never. I'm just about ready to sign off, though. But good talking to you, man. Good talk. Yeah. But the Diggy Zua pass rate. That I'm all for that. But the Giants, they need somebody. Really great to get somebody next to Sexy Dexy that consumes some blocks and let the linebackers behind them do their thing. Like Fadden and Okereke do their thing and make some tackles, right? Because the Giants, getting after the quarterback great, but we also have to concentrate, trying to stuff in that run. And that was something the Giants did a horrible job at, right? Now, that article talks about bringing Odiggy Zua in here for like $21 million a year. I don't know so much about that. The Giants have other needs, but this is supposed to be a very good draft class for like defensive linemen. So, if the Giants don't go defensive lineman in the first round or I wouldn't be surprised if they want to trying to grab a defensive tackle, somebody to put next to Sexy Dexy, without question in the first few rounds. And especially that way, because if you want to bring them in the first couple rounds, the nice thing about that, right, is that you draft somebody in the second round or something that they're on the cheap, right? And the thing, too, is that you want to still take advantage of the sexy one while he's still up here, because next year is going to be, the 7th season. And then somewhere along the line, it's going to be the 8th season, and then the 9th. And he's going to start somewhere, hard to believe, but somewhere along the line, sexy's going to start tailing off. And it'd be nice that, when sexy's up here, providing you these type of results, let's get somebody else, right, where we can have a good four. We got 2 nice edge rushers, maybe not the best in the whole league, but we got 2 decent edge rushers, right? Let's get somebody next to Sexy Dexy who can, especially do a good job at stopping the run, because the Eagles are just going to want to kill the Giants again this year. And it was, as embarrassing as it was last season, it's going to be even worse this year coming up. So, all right, guys, been 1 hour and 39 minutes. Benny G-Man, good talking to you, brother. Thanks for showing up, man. Appreciate it. Thank you. So once again, whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replay this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.